Hey YouTube, welcome back to Wisco Rural Living. Today I'm going to do a little video on the deck I've been working on. We had an old cedar deck. It was 25 or 26 years old. 25. And it got to the end of its life. I tore it off. But today I want to go over why I chose the products I chose and the research I did, and share with you why I did what I did. There's my hired helper right there. You gonna help me, or are you gonna lay there and sleep? Looks like you're gonna lay there and sleep. She don't like the heat. I was gonna weed this landscaping before I did this video, but it's real life, so here you go. So originally I had a 16 by 50, a 16 by 48 and a half deck on here. And the only thing I kept was the 6 by 6 posts. And originally these were 2 by 10s. And they were a little spongy, honestly. You know, and they were getting not dry rotted, but they were 16 on center, but I replaced them with 2 by 12s, 16 on center. And I'll get to that explanation of why I went with the product of decking I did. Some of these products you got to go 12 inches on center, which is a huge, not a huge more expense, but putting floor joists at 12 inches on center, it's crazy. But one thing I did, I didn't do the Trex rain escape. I don't know if you can see that. I made my own. I bought rolls of 10 by 20 EDPM rubber roofing. There's other videos on this if you want to Google that or search it. But I made these little bladders up. I haven't put the gutter on obviously yet, but I did that for two reasons. One is I wanted this to stay dry down here. When the rain used to come through before, you'd have these lines where the rain and the pollen from the trees landed. And you're always power washing. I was always power washing this off. The other reason I did it is because I don't trust this new pressure treated lumber. You know, I did a lot of like I said, I did a lot of research, and oh, you got to joist tape everything. Well, just to joist tape this deck, I think it was like $800 with joist tape. So I think I spent $1,200 or $1,400. I think it was $5. I think I had to get 6 rolls of that EDPM, so it was $1,200, which to me is just like joist tape. No water is ever going to get down here. It might eventually come through where the little T15 screws for the hidden fasteners come through, but you can't prevent everything. But you can do your best to prolong what you built. Oh, here she comes. My wife loves milkweed. Try to keep the bees, and actually the hummingbirds love this stuff. The sun's probably going to raise havoc with this video up here, but this is 14. Like I say, it was 16 and went to 14. We don't spend a lot of time out here because it's so hot. But I got this part done. Obviously, we picture framed the whole thing. We got 4 sections of 12-foot decking. I still need to do this part. My next step was going to be to do that part. That's only 10 by 40 there. But my insurance guy saw a Facebook post I put on about the deck I'm building with no railing yet, which I'm not going to put up a temporary railing. We live out in the middle of nowhere. But we do have a little family get together coming up in a couple weeks. But long story short, my insurance guy's like, you can't have that. He wanted me to sign a paper basically saying my insurance is no good for liability until I get the railing on. But I want to go over why I chose what I chose. Everybody says, oh, I put Trex decking on. I went with Trex. Trex. I've installed a lot of Trex decks. It's a good product, but it contains wood fiber. And what does wood do? It expands and contracts. So when I did my own deck, you know, decks I've done for other people, they've said, I want Trex. I don't want nothing but Trex. And I guess it depends what your price point is. You can get the high grade Trex, the low grade, but it all has wood fiber in it. So I got experimenting or researching. Watched a lot of YouTube videos on a brand called Deckorators. Right here. Deckorators has Voyage, Summit, and there's 2 or 3 lower grades too. I went with the Summit, and I was torn between TimberTech or Deckorators. And this is TimberTech, which is 100% vinyl. It's about an inch thick. And what I like about these brands is they don't expand and contract like Trex or any other. This is fiber on here. I considered that too. Again, it's got wood fiber in it. And when I was younger, obviously I have a log home here. But when I was younger, I thought I'd enjoy staining wood every 3 years, every year. But when you get older and you have kids in sports and travel ball, it becomes it's no longer fun. It becomes it's a chore. I would highly recommend, or at least look into it, the TimberTech. This stuff hasn't moved. At all, honestly. I think I spaced these a little over a 1/16 where the picture frame goes together. And like I say, I've done Trex decks, done a lot of composite decks. Some of the first ones that come out were just that ugly, didn't even have a grain to it. It was just the old milk crate material and sawdust. The other thing I looked at was what I was going to use for fasteners. These are the Trex. I call them hidden fasteners, but you can obviously see them right there. But originally I was going to do the camo gun. Why is that going crazy on me? But what I didn't like about the camo, you know, what if you ever got to take a board up? And after 5 or 10 years, you know, them screws, they're going to probably strip out at the head. I mean, honestly, when I tore this old cedar deck off, the top was weathered really bad and the ends were rotten. But you couldn't get the screws out. So I basically took a hammer and pounded the bit in. So the Fasten Master, I don't trust plastic. I always feel like it's going to get brittle and break. But like I say, I've used these for years. But if you don't picture frame your deck and you use Trex or something that's going to expand and contract, I've seen decks where they'll, like I say, this isn't, if they weren't picture framed, which I wouldn't do a deck anymore if it wasn't picture framed. I've seen these boards work themselves, that this board might work itself that way 3 inches. This board might go the other way 3 inches. And I think it expands and contracts, and it just pushes one way and one pushes the other way. So originally I was going to go with the camo gun, which basically just toenails every board down. Then I was going to use these Fasten Masters. I'm like, these are metal. That's awesome. Again, if you use these and you need to take a board up for whatever reason, say you dropped, I don't know what you'd drop. Maybe I'd be out here staying in my house someday and I dropped a sander that was running on it. I ruined a board. I can't get that board out unless I take a skill saw or a circular saw and cut it out. At least with these, I just back the screw out. I can take the board out. It's gonna be tough getting it back in, but we'll figure that out when that problem happens. I've basically let this project sit idle for a month. And all because of trying to decide, I knew what I wanted. I just couldn't find a quality aluminum railing that wasn't an arm and a leg. This one right here is a Decorators brand, which Decorators don't make it, obviously. So I went and bought 2 sample pieces. I got this from Lowe's. I wanted a beefier spindle, and this has a 3/4 inch spindle. But I bought one and I'm like, why is the cutout 1.25 inches and the spindle is 3/4? It's just gonna trap beetles and rain and crap down in there. It's gonna make a muddy, soupy mess. The story, I should flip this around so you can see my face, but I just want to tell a story about the Lowe's thing. We went down there to actually buy this. And a young lad at the register, I said I need 8 6-foot sections and 4 8-foot sections. He says, well, I don't know how to special order, so you might as well just do it online. And I said, well, I can do that. I said, will it get shipped here? He said, no, it'll get shipped right to your house. I said, well, I'll just take the 8 6-foot sections I need now, and I'll order the other ones when I get home. So I go up and order them, and it was like $230 a section. And I said, well, on your website, I just looked it up, they're like $178. He said, yeah, that's the online price. This is the in-store price. I said, so, he goes, we got to upcharge when we stock the shelves. I'm like, so you don't want a brick and mortar store? I like to go look at what I'm buying. You know, when you buy stuff online, you get it. I've done it not millions, hundreds of times. They have a picture of what it's going to look like. You order it and it's junk. And that's why I bought these samples. So I bought a sample. This is actually from Menards, and I'm not saying Menards is good quality stuff, but I'm on a bunch of deck building forums and construction forums. This is the Williams. It's got a 1/2 by 3/4 spindle, but for $200 a section, it's what we went with. Another funny story, I also went to a couple local lumber yards. And I'll get out of the sun and just tell you the story. Went to a couple local lumber yards, and I think there's a couple brands they carry. Anyway, I stopped at the one in town, and again, a young lad come out and told him what I needed. And I said I need 8 6-foot sections, 4 8-foot sections. 8 6-foots, 4 8-foots. He said, well, I'll have to call you with pricing. I'm not sure where you'll be on pricing, because I don't buy a lot of stuff from him. But the salesman in the back, he never did come out and introduce himself. I just heard him yell out, yeah, it'll be like $300 or $400 a piece. And I said, oh, okay. Well, which is it? He said, probably closer to 400. So I'm looking at double the money, and it's basically the same thing other than I have to put it together. So it'd be easier to cut the top and bottom rails. But I guess the moral of the story is, customer service on all this stuff is just crazy. I guess if you can find, and I do have a friend that's he's a salesman at another lumber yard, but they didn't carry decorators, so I felt bad going back there to get the railing, because he was going to say, where'd you get your decking from? But looking right in the sun, aren't we? But anyway, if you're going to put a new deck on or replace an old deck, definitely do your research. Salesman will talk in, or maybe even a contractor will talk you into something you really don't want. I've been happy with this Deckorators. Like I say, there's no wood in it. It's made out of sand. It has a sand base. Sand and vinyl, or whatever plastic they use. And one other thing I need to do, the next step of this is obviously the railing, but I'm doing wood posts. That won't be part of this video. I wish I would have done a build of this. It would have been very long though, a long video, unless I time-lapsed it a million times speed. I still got to do these last 2 rows. Just fasten them down. Put my last picture frame board on. Oh, here's something else I wanted to show you. I actually got this decking from Home Depot. And there's the sample board that they sold me this stuff on. And here's the actual decking. And I'm not upset, but it's not the same. But I guess that's the world we live in today. I don't want to say it's deceiving, but it's not the same. But yeah, I put the picture frame board down. Couldn't cut it until I established where I'm going to be. Obviously, it's going to be right here. I got to take this back up. These are just pinned down for now. Take this back up. I'm doing wooden posts, 5.5 by 5.5 wooden post with the Williams railing. I think it's going to look sharp. Sawing the wood post out of power poles. I'll probably do a video on that too, starting the next process of this. I'll saw them out, stain them up. I also got to make the brackets that hold the, I'll call them 6x6s, but it's going to work out good. The corner post to be on that picture frame, there'll be one in the middle, and they're going to land right on the picture frames because they're 12 foot on center. Yeah. Took a lot of math. A lot of math. Yeah, like I say, before you just go buy stuff or order a whole bunch of stuff, maybe just buy one. That's unacceptable to me. Why would you punch a hole twice, not twice, 40% over what you're going to put in it. It's just going to collect junk. But anyway, this video is getting long. I watch a lot of YouTube and don't want you to be bored by my rambling. But yeah, the next video I'll do, I'll show us sawing the power poles out, staining them, and I'm making the brackets for the bottom so we can face screw everything down. Yeah. And then we can turn around, and once the party's over in a couple weeks, we can tear that deck off. This deck actually isn't horrible. If you can see that or not. The sun is hard on everything. That deck's actually in good shape. The sun never hit it. And we haven't stained that for at least 6 or 8 years. I know we haven't. I power wash it twice a year. My only concern with the new deck on the front is the dog. When she enters the end of that deck, she's going full bore. She's not right now. Tilly, come up here. Tilly. Yeah. It's been a lazy day for her. She don't like the heat. But yeah, my fear is she's going to hit this, and I don't think it's going to scratch it. If it does, it's just part of history. People can say, why is your deck all scratched up? It was my dog from 20 years ago. You want to say goodbye, Tilly? Tilly, tell everybody goodbye. Hey, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Hey, do me a solid and subscribe and like this video too. I got some other stuff I'm going to put on here. I think you'll enjoy. God bless. Take care.